Today's and tomorrow's stream is going to be new quilt pattern design. Oh, and I just realized I didn't update the stream. It is not binding day. It is new quilt pattern design. Return. Fantastic. So I'm going to be making a brand new quilt pattern slash quilt. I put his picture in the little thing. Mega Man colors. We fashioned him after Mega Man, Proto Man, a couple of the different mechanized people type video games. So, and it's of course it's an original sprite that Nicole created. So this is going to be our next pattern in the line. We haven't named him yet, so I'm not sure what we're going to name him. But yeah, this is our next one. So my goal today is I have figured out all of the pieces and the strips that I need to make him. I need to now make the quilt top, and make sure that all of my math is correct. If all of my math is correct, then I need to do the initial pattern layout, send it on to Nicole, she makes it all pretty, then we send it to our proofreaders, and then we turn it into a pattern. So this pattern's going to be released in June. So that is our target date. So it's going to be the next one in the line. Alright, so let me get working on him. The colors, obviously you see, this one's going to have 5 fabrics. 5 different fabrics, and I actually went through and pulled the fabrics that I like for this one. So those are already there. So, and I'm going to run down the list and cut them and make them. So here's our cream. Now this is the background. The background is always the one, not always, most of the time, 90% of the time, the background fabric is actually has the most amount used. So it's the highest bit of it. And I'm just double checking. Green, green, green. That's really strange. I've got lots of dropped frames. Lots of internet issues. I had absolutely no internet issues yesterday. Alright. Let's close that down. Let's see if that works. Okay. Alright, that one's closed. That one's done. Yep, I've got issues. Let me see if I can't fix them. Well, I guess I'm not going to increase my bitrate, because I did so well yesterday. I was thinking about playing with the settings. Alright, I think it's stable now. Alright, got it. Okay, I'll keep an eye on that. So, let me get started. Yeah, the drop frame percentage is going down, so that means that it's a solid good. Awesome. Okay. So background. So the background is the one that gets, most of the time, has the most amount of fabric that's used for a pattern. So for this one, we decided that we wanted a cream color for the background. Just because there's so much turquoise in there, we wanted that cream to come out with it. Alright, I think I've got it stable now. Alright, now this is a brand new bolt. I haven't cut any off of this before. So I need to square it up. There we go. Alright, now for cream, I need 3 3.5s and 3 2 inches. In fact, let me move these over here. Okay, yep, I fixed the issues. I hate that when I have issues right at the beginning of a stream. Now the first thing I always do is I just cut all my fabric. So I cut all the strips of fabric. After I cut the strips of fabric, then I cut the pieces from those strips. That way I can get the fabric out of my way and move it if I don't need it. There we go. Stay. So I can set this. I'm going to set you over here for now, just so you're out of my way. Okay. This is light blue. I need 2 and 2. Although I do want to iron it a little because it's a little wrinkled. I love this shade of blue. So I think this one and then the darker blue over here, I think go really, really well together. They complement each other very well. Okay, and I said I needed 2 and 2, right? Yep, 2 and 2. It's funny, I've been cutting quilt kits all morning, and so because of that, I'm like, wait, that's all I need is 2 and 2? Because I've been making 6 quilt kits at a time. Okay. I'm going to set that right there because I'm going to put all the fabric. Actually, you know what? Let's put it right there. Okay, and then for the tan, I need 1 and 2. no white in this one, is there? No. Alright, now I notice sometimes in fabric you'll get a little bit of wear on it. Right here, there's a little bit of wear. So I'm just going to completely cut that piece off because I don't want to take the chance of it appearing in my quilts. Okay, so this one, blue, I need 2 and 4. Hey, hon.
Hi.
There we go. Oops. Alright, and then black is 1 and 7. Because, as you see, we like to frame the character with black. I feel it's important for pixel creations that are going to be turned into quilts, so translated into quilts. I feel it's important for them to have the black that basically delineates it from the rest of the colors around it. So it kind of, pronounces it from the background and really gets it to stand out. So because of that, there's always going to be a lot of 2-inch black strips in my patterns because they're combined with the other colors. Okay, so there's 1, and now I need 7 of these. Now I am not going to have this finished for C2E2, so if you're watching this before the April show, you will not see him there. You will see him at AwesomeCon, definitely. You may or may not see him at Tidewater. It depends if I can get him done or not. Four. 5. 6. 7. I won't need the long ruler anymore. I gotta bring the pin in there, am I? Okay. I'll just set it right there. So it's within easy reach. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I was afraid of. Nope. Okay. I folded it wrong. I do have 7. I was like, that one seems a little extra thick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. Alright, so let me cut the 3.5-inch strips. Even though it doesn't look like it needs iron, I always iron my strips just to make sure. Okay, now for the black, I need 2 3.5 by 3.5s. And I need 13 of the 2 by 3.5s. So I need to cut 7 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll take 1 out. And then I'll start a stack of my extra fabrics. I always, especially whenever I'm designing for a pattern for the first time, I always set aside all of my extra stuff, because if I miscount it, I immediately want to go there first to see if I have to change my numbers or not. Okay, now for the blue, I need 3, 9, and 5. Okay, there's 8. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 8. 4. 4. So I need 3 of these. So I'll set 1 aside. That's trash. I need 9 of these. And I need 5 of those. Okay, so I'll set 1 aside of each of these. And tan, 1, 2, and 1. Now I am cutting these while they're folded over, so I'm actually cutting 2 at the same time. Okay, but I only need 1 of those, 2 of those, and 1 of those. This is extra. Okay. Oh man, I put them out of order, didn't I? No. hate it when I confuse myself. Let's make sure that I cut the blue correctly. 3. Yes. 9. And 5. Okay. So for these, I need 2, 5, and 8. Okay, so I said I needed 2, 5, and 8. Okay, that's 4. 4, 8. There we go. Okay, and then the background. And this one I need 21, 16, and 12. And 1. That's not right. I don't think I cut that right. I either didn't count it or I did my math wrong. I think I counted that as a 2 and not 21. Yeah, that's definitely what I did. See, and this is why I make them. So 21 times 6.5 is 136.5 plus 136.5 plus 24 divided by 40. Yeah, I need 6 strips, not 3. That's what I thought. Okay, and I put it here. So I need 3 more. Okay, so we need 21 6.5s. 1. That's 4, 8, 12. Is there enough here for 2? No, just not enough. Okay, there's 12. $16, $20. Okay, so I've got 20 of those. And here's 4, 8, 'I always find it's easier just to make sure when I lay my fabric out that it's always face up. It just lets me work with it a lot easier. And I don't have to be flipping it around and moving it all over when I'm laying it out. Okay, so that's 8 of the 3.5s by 3.5. I need 8 more. $16. Now we need 12 of the 2s. So 4, 8, 12. And I still need 1 more of the 6.5. Is that enough for a 2? Nope. Okay, so this one's the extra. One of those, because I need 21, not 22. Okay, so I've got all my regular pieces cut out. Now I need to sew my strips together and cut my combined strips. Okay, now for my combined strips, I need 2 black and blues. So there's 1, 2. I need 1 black and tan. Now tan is the skin color that I used. Okay, I need 1 black and light blue. I need 3 black and creams. 1, 2, 3, and then I need 1 blue with tan, and 1 blue with light blue. There we are. And those are all my combinations. Yes, I know, kitty cat. You're not getting dinner yet. I do have my 1/4" piecing foot in my machine. This is just easier to make sure that I have a guaranteed 1/4" seam. If you have a sewing machine, if you do a lot of 1/4" piecing, if you don't have a 1/4" piecing foot with the guide, so it actually has a piece of metal right here, it's a fantastic investment. I highly suggest it. And all I'm doing is stripping, is combining the right side with the right side using a 1/4" seam straight down. Don't have to use pins. You just make sure that the 2 fabrics line up and you're sewing at a 1/4". I do like to figure out which strip is longer and put that one on the bottom, because as whatever fabric you have on top, the sewing machine is going to naturally stretch it just a touch. So it's always better to have the longer piece on the bottom. That way you can get the most out of both fabrics. Now, of course, if you have the same exact line of fabric, it should be the same length. In that case, it doesn't make a difference what you put on the top or the bottom. Now I have sewed the two sides together before, making sure before I did this and measured it to see which one was longer. I did sew both halves together and had to then use my seam ripper to rip the whole thing up. Oops, that's right. The black one is on the top. The easiest way, I don't know if you can see it from the side or not. I'll move over so you can see it a little bit. This is the way that I hold my strips. So I actually put my pointer finger in between the strips and the rest of my hand under it and my thumb over top. So this way I actually can move the fabric and guide it. And that's how I'm able to keep it going. And not have to stop a lot to make sure that the fabric is straight. And I always start it before I actually pick up the fabric and do that, because you want a little bit of, see, my brain doesn't like working. A little bit of a hole on the strips, so whenever I let go and pick it up and try to situate myself, I don't have to worry about the strips falling out of the sewing machine, because I've sewn a couple of stitches in. The most important thing whenever you are sewing strips is to make sure it's uniform and it's the same stitch. So whether you stitch it at a 1/4 inch, whether you stitch it a little bit more than a 1/4 inch, whether you stitch it at a scant 1/4 inch, which is a lot of the Quilt and Day stuff does, you always make sure that the entire strip is the same exact stitch. I'm not cutting them, that's right. Sometimes I cut them between the colors. Sometimes, like I'm doing now, I wait to the very end and then separate it. If I'm making a larger quilt, I have to cut it between the colors. But for the lap quilts, a lot of times I don't. Just because it's, I don't know, it's not really faster, more efficient, just a different way of doing it. Soleil. So now I'll separate it by color. Oh, hi, Chrissy Ann. How are you? I just realized. There we go. I almost didn't see your message. All I saw was the little robot smiley guy, and I'm like, someone said something. Two. I think I've got 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. So how are you today? 1. Oh, they're 2 different ones. Now, when I do my strips, when I combine them together, I always cut them in half. And the easiest way that I find to cut them in half is to do it this way. Oh, fantastic. You're cross stitch, right? There we go. Now you notice I cut each of them the same way, so I made sure that the same fabric was on top when I cut it in half. And that's important whenever you are cutting the pieces from these strips. Oh, that's cool. I love samplers. Have you, are you a member of Sprite Stitch? not used to having my ironing board on that side. It's over here. Let me stick that there. No, it's, take a look at it, spritestitch.com. It is a website, although the blog itself doesn't get updated very often anymore, but the forums have taken on a life of their own. It is a community of video game fans that cross-stitch. So I actually have met a lot of my friends through there. In fact, that's how I met Nicole, my business partner. I met through Sprite Stitch, through one of their exchanges. So it's great. They have so many awesome patterns, and there's a couple of really cool video game samplers on there, and I really, really like it. The joy of moving something from its use. Yes. Yes. I understand that. I completely understand that. Alright, so on my patterns, whenever I say iron it towards the one color and then iron it towards the other color, so for example, this one's ironed towards the blue, this one's ironed towards the light blue. You just pop them on top of each other, so the blue touches the blue, the light blue touches the light blue. And then you just nest those seams in there. So make sure those seams are nice and snug. Trim the edge, and then cut the pieces. So blue with light blue. I need 6 3.5s, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, no, it's a really, really cool site. I really like it. In fact, if you've seen, and then 4 of the small ones. If you've seen my website and you've seen the cross-stitch quilts that I've done for charity, those are all because of Sprite Stitch. So the community is people all around the world. So this is the time of year where everyone is making their video game scenes. So they pick their favorite video games. They take a scene from it. It can be a person, it can be a full scene, but it has to be directly from a video game. And they then cross-stitch it, and there's all these parameters that you have to follow, and then they mail them to me, and I turn the entire thing into a quilt, and we send it to the Penny Arcade dinner auction that benefits Child's Play. So right now I'm collecting them, so I got my first one in the mail the other day, and I need them by July, and then in September I make everything and I ship it out in October. Because the dinner is the beginning of November. That's awesome. Yeah, what's really cool about this site is that there's a lot of free ones. There's a ton of free patterns. I did a pattern upstairs. I've got a Super Mario 3 World 1 map that I made for my husband that's hanging in our family room. I put that pattern up there. But the community is really cool too. I really like them. Okay, so this is blue and tan. Okay, I need 2 3.5s. And 1 of those. Now, whenever I take them apart from what I do, in my actual pattern that I write, I'm going to say cut 2 and 2, even though you only need 1. So in that case, I'm not taking the 1 and setting it aside. So I'm going to put it in here. So I may have that 1 left over. Okay, and this is black and light blue. Now I should be cutting them in the exact opposite order of what I laid them out in, so I can just move up my list. So black from light blue, I need 3. Oh nope, the black and creams. So black and light blue, I need 3 and 7. So I'll cut 4. Soleil, what are you doing? She's trying to get back behind the cat stuff to see if anything's dropped by. And 8. Right, so 4. Yes, 8. So I need to cut 4 of these. Because again, these are nested, so I'm cutting 2 at a time. And the seams are pointing in different directions, which is why you see me lay them out the way I do. 3, 4. So in this case, the seam is pointing towards the blue. In this case, it's pointing towards the black. Okay, and these are, oh, it looks like I put the black and creams on the bottom. These are the black and tan. For some reason, this did not want to iron the way it's supposed to. There we go. Okay, so black and tan, I need just 1 and 1. So I'll cut 2 and 2. Okay, and here's the black and blue. Okay, so black and blue, I need 9 and 16. So it'd be 10 and 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I need 16, so 8 of the 2s. 1, 2. Check to make sure there's no, yep, that's good. I was just checking to make sure that the selvage wasn't included in that one because it was pretty close to the edge. 5, yep, that's right. 2. thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that very much. That's awesome. Thank you. Pandas are life man, 89. Thank you again very much. If I had my new layout, I have a little thing that'll pop up saying thank you with little hearts on it. Okay, so I had 2, 4. Okay, I need 8 total because I need 16 of these total. 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the quilt itself that I'm making right now will not be at C2E2 this week. I will not get it finished in time. It may or may not be at Tidewater, but it definitely will be at AwesomeCon because that's when we're releasing this pattern. Alright, last but not least, the background. See if my new calculations are correct. Thank you very much. See, now that one is a $72 donation. That is fantastic. Thank you again. I like the message, love you again. That's awesome. See, and I'm wondering why it's not popping up on my event list. It should pop up on my event list. Okay, let me fix this. Yeah, it says it's supposed to be there. Yeah, for some reason, it's not registering the donation. But that's okay, it's popping up in chat, so thank you. I'll have to search that later and find out what the problem is. Okay, so the background. This is the black with the cream. I need 13 and 19. So 13 of the 3.5s and 19 of the 2s. So 13... So I'm actually going to cut 14 because whenever I put them into the pattern, I round it up to 1 because you're cutting an even number. So 2, 4, so 1, 2, 3. I need 7 of these. 4, 5, 6. And then for the 19, I'll cut 10. Now I know an entire strip, just because I've done it enough so many times, is going to cut me 20 of the 2 by 3.5s. So I know an entire strip is going to be just those 3.5 by 2s. So I only need 1 piece of the 3.5 by 3.5 from this next strip, and then I can set it aside as my extras. And then this is the last bit of the cutting, and I can start laying it out. And now, of course, my little things aren't popping up because I moved it. That's awesome, Chrissy Ann. So you just took a look at the Sprite Stitch website. See what I mean? Isn't it amazing? And then it's not just all of the free patterns and everything you can find, but everyone helps each other. Like, hey, where can I find this this material? Where can I find this? I'm working on this pattern and I'm making my own pattern, but I'm not sure how it's turning out. Hey, Doreen, how are you? So, the Sprite Stitch is a fantastic. If you're into cross stitching and you love video games, which you're on Twitch, you love video games, it is a fantastic site. I absolutely love it. Okay, so there's all my 3.5 by 3.5s. And now the last bit for my 3.5 by 2s. And the nice thing, so I use KG Chart, which is a cross stitch program when I design all of my quilts. So it's because of my cross stitch background is how I actually started designing these quilts. So I actually highly recommend KG Chart. There's also PC Stitch. So if you want to do all of your own designs. And then there are a ton of people on Sprite Stitch that will help you, finalize and basically make your designs even better and pop, because they're just so amazing. Like Black Mage. Black Mage is just amazing on there. I am doing fantastic, Doreen. I am almost ready for C2E2 next week. And I am working on my next quilt pattern that we're going to release in June. Alright, so I need 10 of these. So my stream today and tomorrow is going to be all about doing this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And of course, whenever I'm splitting them, I'm counting again, just to make sure. Alright, and let me minimize that. Okay, because I want to make sure I can see my dropped frame rate. And I'm good. Okay, so the next step, I've got everything all cut out. What I do before I start to piece a quilt together is I lay all my pieces out. So I have my pattern. I use extra pieces of paper in order to do my lines. Make sure my cutting pad is there. Okay, and then I lay all my pieces out. I normally lay my background first because that's the one I'm going to use the most. Now I only have one of the tan, so I can do that. In fact, the tan's at the very top, so I'm going to put that one up there because I'm going to use that one less. Let's do it this way. I can make more room that way. There we go. That's better. Because what I'm trying to do is put them in a way that's going to make it more efficient for me when it's time for me to grab those pieces. So I'm trying to make it as efficient as I can. So these are important. So I'll put those down there. Okay. You know what? I'm going to do that there. The black I can put up there because I'm not going to use those very often. There we go. There we are. Okay. My job is hard. I don't think it is. I love it. Some people think quilting's really hard, but that's one of the reasons why I started my own pattern line, right? Is to show, just kind of take all the mysticism out of quilting and show people that, you know what, it's kind of cool. Oh, I forgot to cut 2x2. So this is the first time in a quilt where I actually need a little tiny 2" by 2" piece. Alright, so we put those there. There we go. Because, oh, I cut the wrong one. I cut the skin. I need the background. There we are. Because whenever Nicole designed this quilt, I just threw away my piece. I'll get in a minute. She put in an odd number of rows and an odd number of columns, which almost never happens. So this is the first row, and I'm going to do 6 at a time. All right. There. Three, and then I'm going towards the black, there, black, black, background, background. And I'll show you why I lay them out this way whenever I pin them. Nope, I should pin it right now before I move on. So, I pin them in sets of 2. So in this case, my arrow is pointing to the right-hand side, so that means I want my seam to point to the right. So I'm going to pick up the first one and fold it over. So if I make my stitch right there, when I iron it, I'm going to iron it like this, so my seam is going to point to the right. And then this is the way I'm going to iron the entire row. Now there is no right side or wrong side of the black, so that's why I didn't flip it over. I just picked it up and moved it. Yeah, Chrissy Ann, I can't believe you've never seen Sprite Stitch before. It's a great site. I like it a lot. Okay, now pointing to the black with the regular blue. Regular blue 3x3. That one's pointing to the blue, so the next one needs to point to the black. So when I'm saying they're pointing to, that way that's the seam that's pointing. Because then these are going to nest here, and those seams will match up. And then a piece of black. Yeah, to make my patterns, you do need to know how to sew a 1/4 inch seam. And you need to know how to use a rotary cutter or a fabric cutter. Fabric cutters are like the Sizzix, AccuQuilt, things like that. Okay, towards the blue. And then the background. Okay, let me double check that one just to make sure, because I was talking while I was doing it. There's a chance I could have put a piece down wrong. Nope, it's good. Okay, so this one, my seam needs to point to the left. So I'm going to pick it up and take the left one and put it on top, so that when I sew it, it's pointing to the left. Wow. 26,000. So was that on Sprite Stitch that you found that? In 66. You know what? I would believe that one's on Sprite Stitch. It's 26,000. Wow. Because some of those people on there are crazy with what they do. Okay, and then this next one. Yeah. I went, so depending, of course, it depends upon the size of your canvas, but I wonder how big that would be. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks, Doreen. Yeah, I know yeah, it's gotta be the phone, because my streaming is perfect for the bitrate. I had some issues in the very beginning. Well, if you're having problems watching it live, I do upload the next day every single one of my videos to my YouTube. So down below on my channel, either there, or if you actually go to my social media or my website, you can go look at the YouTube, and all of my streams are backlogged there. So every single stream of mine, you can always watch it the next day. So if for some reason there's something you're interested in that you want to watch, if your phone isn't allowing you to watch it live, it'll be up the next day for you. Towards the black. Towards the black. Towards the black. And yes, I always talk to myself whenever I'm laying pieces out, whether I'm streaming or not. It gets me to remember which piece I need and which way the seams need to point. If you watched whenever I did the Hyrulean crest quilt, alright, this needs to go towards the background. You'll notice how I am talking during this one, but during the Hyrulean crest quilt, I didn't do a lot of talking. I was concentrating on my pieces. It's because the pieces were so tiny and so complicated. Oh, thanks very much for the follow, Doreen. I appreciate it. And I think you got kicked off again, so if I see you log back in, I'll thank you again. But those pieces were so tiny and so complicated, and there were so many of them. Yeah, I had to super focus on that. But with this pattern, it's a little easier. So if the person that just popped in to watch again, if that's you, Doreen, again, thank you very much for the follow. Yeah, I should do a special Twitch giveaway when I reach a certain amount of followers. Like when I reach 100 or 250 or 500 or something. I should give one of my patterns away. Because I do a lot of that with my Facebook, right? Every single time I have a new pattern come out, I give it away on my Facebook page. I should look into the logistics of that. I've had to randomly pick someone. Oh, yeah, that's true. So even though you can watch it next day, you do want to watch it live in case you have questions or you just want to chat and say hi. I like it when people watch me live. Because I find whenever I stream, I actually get more things done, and I get them done quicker when I'm talking to people. So I love it when you guys join me in chat. Towards the blue. Background. The black piece. Towards the blue. And I may have to re-iron some of those blues because that was my last one that goes towards the blue. All the rest of them go towards the black. Yeah, I agree. It's nicer to interact. I just realized I have 2 more bolts of fabric up there I forgot about. It's black. I have lots of black fabric everywhere. 16 inches by 22. It's actually not that bad. So I wonder how many stitches my Super Mario 3 World 1 upstairs is. That's actually not a bad size. See, I know my ticker is working because it registered the follow. I don't know why I didn't register the donation earlier. I'm going to have to look into that. Oh, no, your English is great, Doreen. It's fine. Honestly, I didn't even know that English wasn't your first language. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do 6 rows and then start sewing. So this is number 5. Okay, now, in this pattern, if you look at where he's standing and shooting, so I am at the part where it's starting to reach the hip area here. Move over so you can see. So it's starting to reach the hip area, and there are 7 vertically aligned, or horizontally aligned pieces in this quilt top. Normally there's only 3 or 4, but this one's got 7 because there's so many different pixelating movements, especially around the hip area and around the shoulder area. So I'll show you how I put those together. I actually put them together as I lay stuff out. So in this case, I've got the next one is this. And I always like to point these up before these. So this is what I mean by a horizontal layout. So I've got one this way, and it's got to go towards the light blue, and one this way. So before I can pin them together for the row, I have to sew this together here. So I want to see if there's any others in the next row. And there's not. Okay, so this is the only one that I need to combine right now. So I can even pin it right now. Okay, so let me sew this together now. Yeah, I think the one that I did, the one that's on there, it's, what's his name? I'm trying to think of the gentleman that put all the worlds up there. I think the one that I did is more complex than that one. It's like this big. Really big. It's funny because when I cleaned my studio out in January and set everything up for streaming, I found like 5 cross stitches that I had framed that I had completely forgot about. So I've got to decide, do I want to hang these things? Do I want to give them as gifts? Do I want to sell them? Hi, Marley. Hey. All right. Okay, now this piece is good. And it goes that way. Alright, and then I need the light black. That's weird. It says I'm offline on my streaming, but it says I'm still streaming here. That's weird. Yep, not gonna worry about it. Yeah, because my system says I'm still streaming, and I'm streaming at a really good rate. It's just my dashboard is acting up. As long as you guys can still see me, I'm fine. Alright, so I've got that. So are you going to make the Ryu, Chrissy Ann? Oh, and the reason that got me thinking of the Sprite Stitch is there is a video game sampler on there, because you said you're making a sampler for your nephew. So if you can, see if you can see that one. It's really cool. They actually did a stitch along of different sampler stuff at one point, which is also super cool. Okay, towards the blue. And towards the background. One of those and one of those. And I am getting chilly. Yeah, it's super weird. It says I'm live. Oh, there you guys are. Yeah, it wasn't registering you guys that you were watching, and it wasn't registering my stream rate. It's super weird. Okay. I know, right? That's the problem with cross stitch. Is you have all of these amazing projects and all of this stuff that you want to make, and you're like, time. I need time. I used to cross stitch when I was at conventions until I discovered English paper piecing. So yeah, everything is all about English paper piecing now for me at conventions. I actually toyed with the idea of making and selling cross-stitch kits of video game stuff at conventions. And then I was like, no. I have way too many things to do right now. I don't want to add another thing to it. It's hard enough keeping up with the quilts and the pillows. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. Okay, towards the background. And that's towards the light blue, so it needs to go towards the background. There we go. And my seam is to the left. So I realized after I started streaming that I forgot to set up my clothing rack over here where I wanted to have it set up. So I am going to do that next before I start sewing the rest of these. So let me grab it. I'm walking in front of the camera, so I apologize. I'm walking in front of the camera again. I'm sorry. There we go. There we go. I'm going to do it that way. That way it doesn't bother me when I put stuff on it. Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to look that one up. Luna Artemis from Sailor Moon. Yeah, that'd be a cool pattern. Okay, so I do the chaining. So, of course, whenever you are sewing, it's easier to chain sew. So that means you don't have... Oh, I should get my new toy. You don't have any breaks at all. You're just constantly sewing through. Oh, there's my new toy. I couldn't remember where I put it. Haha, my new toy for chaining. I like toys. Okay. So much faster. But of course now I've got to do the pins. Let's put the pins there. Now I'm making sure as I sew and cut and take the pins out that they're in the special order that I've got them in, because that's going to make a difference for the next step. And bobbin threads out. Hey, Doreen. Alright, I'm hoping that your phone is not going to act up for the internet. Oh, there it is. I wasn't sure where my bits and bobbins thing went. Fantastic. No lag is a great thing. Oh, okay. Well, that's one way to do it. If the phone was the problem, switch to the computer or tablet. If you're on a computer, the site that Chrissy Ann and I have been talking about is Sprite Stitch. It is an online community of cross-stitchers that like video games. So a lot of the cross-stitch patterns and designs that are on there are video game themed. All the way to the back. There we go. Sure. I do not mind questions. Now, I'm probably going to answer it, but you can always ask. Oh, I forgot to put these back. I'm like, why am I missing a row? No, I actually do not mind that question at all because I am an old woman. I am 40 years old. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, in the heyday of video games. I did not actually start learning to quilt until I was 31, almost 32 years old. So I've only been doing it about 8 years. So before that, I did cross stitch and other stuff. So no, age is not a big deal for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. A lot of people tell me I don't act my age either. Plus, I am a professional quilter, so I quilt for a living, and I sell my quilts and my patterns at comic book conventions and video game conventions. Oh, I talk about, Chrissy Ann, don't I talk about my personal life a lot? And everything I do. You know, there's all sorts of, depending upon what I'm doing, I tell all sorts of stories. Oops, that one is almost out. So I live, general overview of me. Professional quilter, I travel, do trunk shows, talk to quilt guilds, sewing stores, all sorts of stuff. I do video game conventions, comic book conventions, all sorts of that. I am, yeah, see, Chrissy Ann says, yeah. I am married. I have a 14-year-old stepdaughter who appears in streams sometimes. And I live in Canada. But I am a U.S. citizen, so I can travel freely across North America to do all of my stuff. And I haven't gone anywhere outside of North America for conventions or speaking engagements or things like that. But I would love that. I'm hoping one day someone invites me to teach a class or do a speech or a talk or something, or a convention, bring me in as a guest. Some place outside of North America. Yeah, see? Yeah, I have no issues talking about me as a person. Plus I'm sewing, right? That covers all the bases. And I think I mentioned it earlier, but what I'm doing right now with the sewing is called chaining. Chaining is not just a faster way of assembling multiple pieces of fabric, but it's also a better way to secure the fabric before and after. Because if you were to start the stitch here and then cut it, this is going to fray right here, and it's not going to be as tight of a stitch. But if you chain it, the stitches are much, much tighter. And much better. Much better. That's not proper grammar. They are better. All right. Now, whenever I go to iron all of my pieces, I can just pick the whole thing up and set it down. And then iron them. And I know because of the way that I I pieced them and I pinned them that these are being ironed in the correct direction. So my seams are pointing the right way. Okay, and then seams are pointing there. See, I wouldn't have known that. I would not have known that English was not your primary language, because so far in the chat, it's been perfectly fine. There's a gentleman from Turkey that watches me a lot, that when he watches, I have to try to speak a lot slower because he still has problems understanding some English. And it's easier when I talk slow because I talk very, very fast. That's just how I am. Okay, and this one goes to the right. Are you still looking at patterns, Chrissy Ann? Have I done a bad thing by introducing you to that site? No, I'm actually not. No, I am the only pixel quilter out there that that does this on a regular basis, and I believe I'm the only pixel quilter on Twitch. Iron Bandsgram is another quilter that I absolutely love her stuff. She's a more traditional quilter. She does t-shirt quilts and other things, and she also does some plush and embroidery. But I know there's at least one other quilter on there, but I think I am the only pixel quilter. Chrissy, I think I'm the only pixel quilter that does this for a living. Now, there's a couple of other pixel quilters out there. I know of one in Seattle. I know of one in Florida. So there's a couple of them out there. But I believe I'm the only one that does it for a living. Okay, to the right. Okay, now, as I was looking, I was laying it out with the seam in the correct direction. So this first one, it's to the right. So this is the left of my quilt. So I can just do that. Pick it up. Fold it. Pin it. And that row is pinned for the next one. And now I'm getting warm again. This is the problem with this time of year, is it's kind of weird outside. With the weather, it gets hot and cold all in the same day. And so it's hard to keep the temperature inside at a good temperature. Okay, there's the back. Now, obviously, Chrissy Ann, if you look through the site, if you decide that you want to be part of the quilt, obviously this year is too soon. But if you send me a screenshot, a pixel screenshot next year, I definitely include every single one that gets sent to me. I like doing that. I just looked at the screen for the streaming, and I like how the maybe takes almost the entire line. That's awesome. Okay, so this one goes to the left. Tony. Hence why my business name is Quilt Tony. Get it? Quilt Tony. I actually had a friend of mine come up with that. I was brainstorming for a business name, and for the life of me, I just could not think of anything. And I had a friend of mine say that, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. Six, seven. That's what I thought. Okay, so this one has an odd number, so that seventh piece I'm going to stick out on the end. Yeah, but I mean, if you look to the bottom left of the screen where it says Quiltony, and of course, or at the top, the name of the page. So quilt, of course, is what I'm doing, and then Toni is my name, is Tony. So that's how we thought of the business name. We just stuck the two together. I actually have some people call my name as Quiltony, because that's how they know me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is the only one that has more than 6 pieces. So I'm going to sew this one next, and then re-iron it and lay it out. No, that's okay. No, it does not that didn't take too long. Some people, it takes a lot longer. They still don't get it, and English is their first language. Alright, so let me sew this one. And there's only the 3 pieces, so I'm just going to trim those. Oops. Out of bobbin thread. Uh-oh. Oh no, okay. That scared me. I'm like, did I do this wrong? I didn't. It's fine. I need more water. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's right. It's super weird. It keeps telling me I'm not streaming. It's not cutting out for you guys, is it? And then coming back on again? Yeah, it's so weird. My dashboard keeps erroring out, and it's not giving me any data saying I'm not streaming. I'm not gonna worry about it then. As long as my regular bit rate shows good on my OBS, I'm good. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Doreen. All right. I've got to go that way. Yeah, see, now it comes back. Alright, I won't worry about it anymore. I know I keep saying that. Alright, let me sew the rest of these up. Oops. You don't want to help me at all, do you, Jordan?
I'm leaving soon.
Oh, okay. Almost done with your laundry?
I am done.
Okay.
Enough sleigh, please.
Oh, yeah, and in addition to my stepdaughter, the dogs may also make appearances now and then. And the cat. Cat's a pain in my rear. why I got up. Well, my initial instinct, whenever you're saying that you're sorry if your English was bad and it's not your first language, my initial instinct was that you're a boy. But I've been wrong. There's someone that watches me on a regular basis that I thought was a girl, but they made a couple of comments on one of my YouTube videos, and their picture's a boy, and I went, oh, okay. Alright, I actually got one right. For me, honestly, there's guys, there's girls that watch me. Honestly, I try not to assume gender anymore of anyone that watches. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Especially being in the creative channel and sewing. Alright, last pass through. Okay, this one's going to go to the left. Now, whenever I sew the last pass through, I always sew them 2 at a time because I'm going to pin them together at this point. So once I sew the first 2 rows, I pin the first 2 rows together. Yeah, see, and that's... Some people that watch the creativity are watching because they want to get ideas and they want to learn how to do something, which is, in my stream, you know, I'm a teacher. I teach all this stuff. I teach classes and all sorts of things about sewing and quilting. So I want to explain everything I do. So I teach as I create. So there's some people that want to learn, but then there's others that just have zero creativity and it just fascinates them. Like my stepdaughter is an amazing artist. She can draw so well. I can't draw anything. I stink at drawing. I can draw stickmen too. That's it. I think that's why when I was younger, I really liked cross stitch, because you don't have to be creative at all in order to do cross stitch. It's if you can follow instructions really well, then you can cross stitch something. My dog thinks it's time to eat, and it's not. Soleil, come here. Oh, that's right. I needed more water. I was like, why is this not ironing nicely? Yeah, see, it's a paper crafter. Yeah, that's, again, you have to follow lots of really good instructions. Same thing with beading. And now there are some really good artists that are beaders that create all of their own patterns. So there's lots of stuff that you can do with creativity, and you don't have to be creative. The site that I was talking to Chrissy Ann about, Sprite Stitch, there are probably 30% of the people that are on that site doing video game cross stitch are men. Yep, that's right. I do. In fact, I met my husband playing World of Warcraft. I don't get to play as many video games anymore as I like to because I own my own business quilting. I'm always sewing. So I play mostly mobile games now. Although for our anniversary, my husband bought me a Switch. But I haven't played anything yet because he's been playing the new Zelda game. And that's okay. He really likes it. So right now I play, like I said, a lot of mobile games. I play Hearthstone every single day. I like Hearthstone a lot. And I play that on my iPad. I don't get the computer game anymore. Don't have time. I really, really, really want to play the King's Quest. I know I haven't played League of Legends, but I know it. I've seen video, and I know a lot of the characters from it because of conventions. My husband played it a little bit, so I got to watch some of it, but I haven't played it yet. Oops, that one goes here. These two go together. Alright, so my first two rows are done. This one is, the seam goes to the left, and I'm going to move this down so I can see just the two rows that I'm working on, because I'm going to double check everything just to make sure that it's all correct. Okay, and this one, the seam goes to the right, although this one needs to get re-ironed. There we go. Seam to the right. So, I have been known for stitching pieces upside down, so I always double check everything. And that looks good. I don't have a favorite character for League of Legends because I haven't played it, honestly. I haven't played it, and I don't know enough of it in order to form an opinion. I know the basic gameplay. I know the objectives. I know some of the characters, but that's about all I know for it. Now, when I'm laying these 2 rows out, I pin the seams first, so I make sure those seams are nested, and I pin those, and then I go back through and pin all of the other seams down, because when I'm sewing this together, I do not want any of those seams to pop up, because that could add more bulk to the quilt. You want to keep the bulk down to a minimum. There we go. Alright, so there's my first 2 rows pinned and ready to go. Oops. Alright, now move it to the next 2 rows, and I can move this one up. So now I only have those 2 rows showing to make sure that I did this one correctly. It's funny, Marley keeps coming downstairs, so when Soleil barks, he runs upstairs thinking that there's something that is going on. Okay, so that goes to the right. Yep, somebody must be here. And this one then goes to the left. Okay, so it looks like those are good. Here's the next 2 rows. Now in this case, there is no seam here at all. These are 2 big pieces, but I want to put a pin in the middle because I don't want the slipping and sliding when I'm running it through the machine. The same thing with this one. I'm going to put one in the middle over here. There's no seams here, so I'll put one in the middle and then one on the end. Just so the fabric's not going to slip and slide at all. Okay. Now, in this case, I want to continue my chaining. So I'm going to actually take the first row here that I've got and run it through. Go. Alright, I'm going to show you a trick that I just did. I don't think you got to see it on the camera. So, when I initially ironed this open, this seam was a lot more off than what it is. So what I did in order to get it to line up more perfectly without having to take all the stitches out and re-sew it, is I ironed it this way. So I actually took the iron and I moved this upper fabric, and then it lined it up a lot better. And then when I go to quilt it, when I actually combine the top, the middle, and the back, it'll really press it in there so it won't slide. So it looks like it's a perfectly lined seam when in reality, when I initially sewed it together, it wasn't perfectly lined. Alright, so for this one, this is the top one, so the seam goes to the left. Now, most of my seams are pretty close to lining up, but every now and then I get one that doesn't, and that's how I fix it. Sometimes I do have to take it all apart and redo it. Okay, that looks good. Just double checking everything. Yep, those two rows look good. Now you notice how I didn't start pinning it on the far left? I realized I didn't mention that before. Because I go to the first seam and pin that down and then work it out. And then do the edge. Because the very ends may or may not line up perfectly. Those seams are more important to line up perfectly. Because I am obsessed with nesting those seams and making sure that they look good. Which is why I sew over my pins, and you're not supposed to sew over your pins. But I find that I get better seams and I get better points. I get perfect points if I sew over my pins. There we go. Alright, so that one is done. Now, whenever I'm putting it over here, I'm leaving the space here for the one that's in there. So I'm making sure that whenever I take it out of there and take all the pins out, I put it immediately right back over here again. Alright, so let me cover those up. Alright, next 6 rows. There are 15 rows, I think, in this quilt. Now, this one's going to have a bunch of the horizontal ones that need to get put together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the rows have a horizontal piece. So, I'll show you how I take care of that then. Okay. And it needs to go towards the black. Blue. I need a large blue. Alright, so here's a horizontal piece. It's one down, and then the top needs to go towards the black. So then the piece that I'm going to try to flip it up, because that's just the way I like to iron it. It's just my preference. So that the seam's going to point down. So the next one, the seam needs to point up towards the background. So that's going to partner with that. So then these last two pieces will partner together. And I'm not going to do all my pinning yet. I'm just going to lay everything out first, and then I'll do all my pinning because I need to combine together these horizontal pieces. Okay, so in this case, it's going to go towards up. Now, the reason I lay it out this way is when I iron it, I like to iron it towards that solid piece, because I find that this piece, because it's two sewn together, is actually a little bit easier to keep stationary and sew towards the solid. So this next one that I'm doing, the solid piece is on top, so I'm going to have the seam point towards that one. So in this next piece, it needs to then come back down to the background. Because in this case, the solid is on top, and it's towards the black with the light blue. Okay, and then the partner piece for that one is a light blue piece. Okay? That one. And then the black. Alright. I take these off because I've got 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. So I have one up, one down, and one up. And then towards the black. There's that one. And then 2 of these. So black, black, background. Yep. Next, towards the black, blue. Okay, that's towards the black, so it needs to go towards the black. One of those. One of those. I need this really big piece that's underneath. There we go. One of those. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to have the solids on the bottom, so I want to go towards the light for the previous piece. And towards the black. Towards the blue. Okay, and then the companion piece for that will be this one. And then on the end, we've got there. So towards the blue, so that's going to be towards the background. Okay, so that's 3 rows. Okay, towards the background. Blue, black, black. You know, I only have 2 of these pieces left, so I'm going to look ahead and see where the other one was and see if it makes a difference which one I use. Nope, it actually doesn't, because I don't have any more pieces of that. This is one of those ones where I needed an odd number. Okay, now I need the last one of this. That one. Okay. That's the black on top, and it goes towards there. I like it when I start to run out of pieces. That means that I am getting close to the end. Okay, and then black. I'm going to move these down. Towards there. No, I'm actually going to take this one because I have more of these pieces than I do of the other one. So there and there. Okay, so towards the black, towards the black. Got it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And this next one, I'm going to start getting into the tan. So let me start moving all these pieces down. Okay. I've got background. Okay, that's towards the black, so it's towards the black up here. And then towards the black here. Blue, tan and blue. The big tan piece. Little tan piece. Tan and black. Okay, that's towards the tan, so towards the background. And background. Oops, and then this piece. Okay. Just double checking. Yep, that looks good. Okay. I need background. Yeah, I'm just putting the background next to the tan, just making sure that it's not close and it's not. That you can't confuse the two whenever I put the whole thing together. Alright, and this next one is going to be there. And it's going to go towards the black, like that. So it's going to go up, so I need to go down towards the background for that piece. I didn't count my black pieces correct. Okay, I need 1, 2, okay, I need 2 more black pieces. So let me fix my pattern. I need to cut 15, not 13. And I do have enough left. So I do not have to add any more strips of fabric so far. Sorry, it caught my attention. I had a dropped frame and I'm like, wait, was that a spike? Was it a lag? But it looks fine. Okay. Alright, so there, here, and then towards the skin, and then 2 of these. Alright, so now I have all of these pieces laid out. Completely random, sure. I like completely random questions. Like I said, most of the time I'll answer you. If it's something I don't want to answer, I'll say, but you can always ask. Alright, so after I've laid it all out, now I want to assemble all these horizontal pieces. I have 5 of them. That one. If I stole balloon on Free Balloons Day, maybe. So it depends in what capacity. So let's say if it's Free Balloon Day and they're giving away a single balloon that's already has helium in it and giving it to you, and they're handing them out for free. If you sneak around and just grab one without being handed to you, no, it's not stealing. But if you take a second one and they're only giving one out, or let's say if you go and you take a balloon that hasn't been blown up, it's deflated, yes, that's stealing. So it depends on the context. I like those theoretical questions. Alright, this one goes this way. Okay, that one there wasn't any, and this one goes that way. Okay, so I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Thank you. Oh, that's right. It's the end. Oh, and there's a lot of things. It depends on the context. It depends on the situation. Now, I'm not doing anything with this strip that I've sewn. I'm not ironing it. I'm not doing anything. I'm putting it back in the exact same order. It just happens to be sewn together, and the pin's gone. Alright, now I'm going to take the second one because I want to keep chaining. So keep on sewing and keep on working on it. The only questions I don't like are the ones of would you rather, and you have 2 bad things you have to. I don't like to do those. I don't like thinking about those would you rather situation question things. My husband likes those things. He likes to ask those questions sometimes. Now you notice, like I said, oops. I know that's supposed to be that way. I hope I pinned that right. Because I like to iron it towards the solid. So I wonder whenever I picked it up if I pinned it wrong. I hope I didn't flip it the wrong way. Okay, so they should be in the right order. So this one should be the one on the bottom, and it is, and it's correct. And this one should be the second one. It is, yep, that's correct. Okay, good. That's the one I was worried about. Okay, that one is right. That one is right. And that one is right. Okay, so now I can pin them. Now what I'm going to do is I don't want to confuse myself for the direction of the seams. So I'm going to take my sheet of paper and I'm going to move it right back down. So I know that's the one with the arrows in that direction that I'm working on. So in this case, the arrow is pointing to the right. So that's the way I'm taking the right piece, putting it over top of the left, and then pinning it. Okay, I'm going to move it up, and the next one is to the left. Now, some people may say, well, that's obvious. You go right, then left, then right, then left, and it's alternating. Yeah, my brain sucks sometimes. I forget which way I'm going, and I will mix it up right in the middle of the row. So that's why sometimes you see me look over here to see which way I'm pointing the arrow, like every other one. And then if I don't have to think about it, I can move a little faster. Like that, where I almost picked it up and did the wrong way. Okay, next to the right. And of course, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm thinking about all of the things I still have to do before I leave Tuesday for C2E2. I need to finish my quilt kits. I need to finish the stained glass link quilt for Nicole. I need to finish my order paperwork for crossing from Canada into the US. There's a lot of paperwork that you need to do when you're a business and you go from one country to the next. I have to do my layout of how I want my booth to look, so I can plan whenever I go to set it all up. Oh, I have to redo my books with pictures of quilts in there. Uh-oh. Why are they both facing the same direction? No, it's just a matter of me grabbing the wrong one. Okay. And today's stream is stopping at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's in about 18 minutes. So what I'll do is I will work until I get to a point that it's a good point for me to stop. So I may go under a few minutes or I may go over a few minutes. That way it's easy for me to pick up where I started tomorrow. So tomorrow's stream will be finishing what I don't finish today. It's going to be the same exact time. So 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. I laid them out wrong. Just making sure. And then after tomorrow's stream, I am gone for a week because I will be in Chicago for a convention. I really wanted to stream at the convention, but I don't think the internet will be good enough. I'm bringing all my equipment just in case. If it doesn't work, I at least want to film my setup, how I set up for conventions, and put that on the YouTube channel. So if you're curious about how I set all my stuff up and all the work that goes into it, we're going to video it. I may or may not do the breakdown. I didn't think that went through. Last one to the left. Oh, Derween, if you wanted to see other people that sew, I belong to an alliance. It's called So Be It. So if you look below, you'll see my alliance affiliation. Everyone in the alliance is a sewer. So some of them also play video games and game on their streams, but they mostly sew. So if you're interested in looking at any other sewers, take a look at the alliance. And if you actually click on the alliance, you can always see at any point who in the alliance is streaming. It's pretty cool. There we go. Bobbin thread again. I think most of the people in my alliance are cosplayers. I know Iron Bandsgram is in my alliance, so she's the other quilter. Some of them are plush makers, but most of them are cosplayers. Knew that was going to happen. I'm using up the little tiny bits left over from my quilting night the other night. So the ones that were getting really close and I didn't want to take the chance of it running out in the middle of the quilt, I'm using those ends up now. Because it honestly doesn't make a difference, the color of the bobbin thread or the color of the top thread, as long as it is a neutral color, you're not going to see it because it's on the inside of the quilt. So my top thread is actually a cream and the bottom's a gray. dropped a pin in there. Alright, I am going to call it a day after I sew this last bit. Although my bobbin thread's going to run out again. I think oh, nope, there's one more little bit in there. It actually got caught in the bottom. Here we go. It is almost time for me to replenish my bobbin case. So, like I said, this will go up on YouTube tomorrow, like always. Yesterday's, of course, I put up there this morning. Tomorrow's stream is 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm not going to touch this at all. I will just pick this up where I left off, because as you heard earlier, I got tons to do for paperwork and other things. And then I will try to decide tomorrow what my streaming schedule is going to be when I get back from Chicago. So I'll try to let you guys know then. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for the donations and for the follows. I appreciate it. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And Chrissy Ann, don't buy too many supplies and spend too much money, because I showed you Sprite Stitch. So, thank you guys. I appreciate it.